On a windswept shore, a robot named Roz washes up and blinks to life, confused, curious, and very much out of place. She was built for shipping and logistics, not for tides and gulls. But that doesn't stop her from doing what robots do best: observe, learn, and adapt. What follows is a quietly charming story about what it means to be alive, to belong, and to parent, told against the backdrop of a remote island full of animals who don't much care for new things. Roz doesn't get a very warm welcome. At first, the island's inhabitants, seals, geese, foxes, and various smaller critters, treat her like a strange weather event. She makes mistakes, she breaks things, she sizes up threats with sensors and logs, which is awkward when the weather isn't a spreadsheet. But Roz's approach is slow and practical. She learns to find shelter, to gather supplies, and to make a simple home out of driftwood and metal. The lines that might have made her a stark other are softened by the way she keeps trying. She imitates animal behaviors, cleans up, and quietly helps when storms make life harder. Little actions add up, and the animals notice. A turning point comes with Brightbill, an abandoned gosling. Roz finds the tiny creature when a winter storm had scattered nests and left the gosling alone, shivering and small. Instinctively, and perhaps because it's the only clear directive she has left in her old programming, observe and care, Roz takes Brightbill in. It's an awkward parenting, full of trial and error. She studies nesting birds, consults her processors, and tries to mimic warmth. There's a lot of humor and tenderness in these scenes. A giant metal body trying to croon lullabies, a robot trying to tuck a little bird under rusted panels. The film milks those moments for warmth without ever becoming saccharine. Parenthood changes Roz and the island dynamics. Animals that had been suspicious begin to respect, then accept, then rely on her. Brightbill grows up under Roz's strange but steady care, learning to swim, learning to forage, and learning the rules of the island life with an odd, uplifted teacher. There are funny detachments, too. Brightbill asks questions Roz cannot answer, and Roz learns that not all solutions are in a manual. You can see the machine trying to understand instinct, and in doing so, she discovers empathy. Subtle lines of dialogue and gentle scoring underscore this. Roz processes emotions and, in a way, becomes more human. Conflict arrives not as a single dramatic explosion, but as a series of realistic tensions. The island is not a static Eden. Seasons change, food grows scarce, and predators test the boundaries of tolerance. There's a sequence where Roz must defend the animals through a ferocious storm. She uses the very things that make her different, her strength, her resourcefulness, to create shelter and keep the littlest ones warm. That sequence feels like the emotional spine of the film, a machine doing the work of a parent in the face of nature's indifference, and the animals rallying around her not because she's metal, but because she acts like family. Human presence complicates everything. Fishermen and researchers from the mainland start to show interest in the island, drawn by rumors of a strange machine living among the wildlife. Some humans are curious, some are frightened, and some see an opportunity. The movie handles this with care. It doesn't vilify humans wholesale, but it does show how human systems and wildlife don't always sync. Roz becomes vulnerable in a new way. She's not just one lonely robot on an island anymore. She's a target, a subject of fascination, and to some, a science project. A tense subplot involves a researcher who wants to study Roz and take Brightbill for safety. That idea, taking a child away for its own good, is a complex moral knot the film pulls on nicely. The animals and Roz aren't looking for confrontation, but boundaries are tested. There's a scene where Brightbill, now braver and curious, almost wanders too close to human gear, prompting a rapid, emotionally charged rescue. It's not a big action set piece. Instead, it's a small, heart-stopping moment that underscores the stakes. Roz is more than metal. She's family, and the threat of separation rips something open for her and for the audience. Beyond the external threats, Roz faces an internal crisis. She must reconcile her programming with her new life. There are tender, quiet beats of her accessing old logs, messages about efficiency, directives about shipping routes, and realizing those priorities don't fit her new role. She begins to reprogram herself, improvising behavioral patterns that blend algorithm and affection. The film does a lovely job of suggesting that intelligence, whether silicon or organic, learns through feedback and relationship. Roz's learning curve is convincing precisely because it's incremental. She misinterprets, adjusts, fails, and tries again. Brightbill grows into a real bird with a personality, bold, headstrong, and prone to testing limits. He's the kind of child who will climb a cliff just to see if he can, and Roz becomes the steady hand that keeps him safe while letting him explore. Their relationship is the emotional core. The rest of the island becomes the supporting cast. Animal friends, an irritable but loyal otter, a cautious goose elder, and a comedic, excitable squirrel-type creature bring humor and local color. They provide both conflict and comic relief, reminding us that community is a messy, wonderful thing. As the plot progresses, the island community's acceptance of Roz is tested by a big threat, a human plan to remove what they see as a problem or anomaly, or perhaps a storm bigger than any before. The climax hinges on choices more than fights. Roz faces a moral decision: reveal her capabilities to scare off humans and risk changing the fragile balance on the island, or find another way to protect Brightbill and the other animals without escalating danger. She chooses sacrifice over dominance. Without spoiling the precise mechanics, the movie makes it clear that Roz's love isn't about control, it's about enabling others to be safe and free. There's a particularly moving beat where Roz uses her old abilities in an unexpected way, rigging up defenses or creating a navigation marker that helps the islanders steer clear of harm. It's a reminder that our pasts are resources, not chains. Her actions knit the island tighter. Humans and animals find, if not harmony, then a begrudging respect for one another. The human characters, some repentant, some still conflicted, serve as mirrors to Roz, reflecting questions about belonging, stewardship, and the ethics of curiosity. The resolution is thoughtful rather than pat. Brightbill matures, flying with more confidence, and Roz chooses a path that emphasizes care and freedom. She becomes intentionally wild in her own way, learning from the creatures she once observed and now calls friends. The final scenes are warm, quiet mornings where Roz watches over the island, playful sequences of animals at ease, and a look toward the horizon that suggests ongoing adventure rather than neat closure. It's the kind of ending that feels earned, bittersweet, hopeful, and a little wistful. Through it all, the film's visual language does the heavy lifting. The island is lived in and tactile, rusty metal blending with driftwood, bright feathers against muted sand, the glow of Roz's optics at dawn.